Hey Lee, I got something right up your alley.
So what, like kinky and Asian?
I don't even want to say yes, but kinda. Based on the popular Japanese sci-fi comic strip, Wicked City is about a futuristic Hong Kong on the verge of a takeover by reptoids. Ruthless monsters disguised as humans. They work among us, they live within us, and their destiny is our demise. Packed with non-stop action and special effects, Wicked City will glue you to the screen until the astonishing end. Alright guys, here we're going to talk about the movie Wicked City. 1992's Wicked City. Lee had just seen this one before.
I had not, but I've heard of this property. My understanding is it has an anime and some other stuff and things going on there. I've seen none of it though.
Yeah, I had not seen the anime. I had never seen this movie before, but I had seen the box. I never read the box, but I'd seen the cover for so long that in the old rental store I used to go to, when they closed down, I bought this because I was like, one day I will check this movie out.
I will dabble.
And today is that day. So, what's your non-spoilers thoughts of Wicked City?
You should probably see it. It's wild. It's suffering a little from certain things that a lot of anime, especially of the time, suffered from, with the way things are translated and the way things are kind of like shown to us and stuff. I was very confused for sections of this, and I may still be, so that'll be an interesting point for us. But I would say it's got charmingly old, weird effects.
Definitely.
And again, wild is the best I can to describe it. It goes places and then it keeps going, and it's kind of nuts.
No, yeah, it grabbed me from the start where I was like, oh, what is this? This is gonna be a treat. Let's enjoy this. So yeah, I would say definitely a thumbs up to watch this movie. Do I 100% know exactly what went on through the whole movie? Not really, but will I talk about it in spoilers for sure? So if you've seen it, I don't care, false over there, and if not, pull out now.
If you need a place to rent content, you better listen. We're Cannibal Video and we eat the competition.
All right, so here we are for the spoilers of Wicked City. Lee, so tell me what you really thought about Wicked City.
It's wild. Part of the way through, I was like, I need to go read the synopsis or do something. I've lost track of who's who and what's happening.
From almost the beginning, I had trouble keeping track of which person was the what are they called?
Reptoid.
Reptoid, and which one wasn't.
Yes.
And I was like, the cooler guy is the blah blah. And then I was like, wait a minute, is the nerdier guy the blah blah? Because the way certain things were happening.
It wasn't that I couldn't tell the two guys apart. It was that one guy kept doing certain scenes with his glasses off.
Hey.
And then,
that might have been it.
And then something would happen, and I'd be like, is this a third guy? What is this now? And that is, it's so crazy. It's great.
It's me!
So the movie opens and there's this scene in a hotel and the guy is sent there to kill this girl who's really a reptoid, and that fight scene plays out and there's amazing things. It's very fast. A lot of shit is happening. There's some cool practical effects. There's some weird shit, and I was just like, this movie might be amazing.
Yeah, she morphs into I think a spider lady. And it's a weird. It's like her head on a weird Muppet body thing. It's great. It's pretty good.
So and it's not really ever explained to you like reptoid kind of means demon. Reptoid is not what we would a reptoid to me. If you were to say a reptoid, I go lizard man.
Lizard man.
That's what I'm thinking.
No.
And I went into this not reading the back of the box. I looked at a few pictures.
That's a good way to do it.
And in one of the pictures, there's someone who looks kind of like a reptile man.
You despised him, rejected him, and alienated him.
So I was like, okay, I know what a reptoid is once they mentioned reptoid. The front is a lady that's just is a tar-looking monster.
How are you? You're inside of me, and welcome.
Who ended up being an elevator. As dumb as that sounds.
You'll soon become a part of me. I like two men at the same time.
And what I love so much is that elevator then gets bewitched into a motorcycle and ridden to death.
You're just a machine. You can't really understand the pleasures of making love.
We're jumping ahead, but this is where I really was like, okay, you've done it to me. This is great.
Yeah.
Cause this is Mr. Shadow. This is the guy who he's the good I keep wanting to say Reptar.
Reptoid, yeah.
The good Reptoid starts to pull like mufflers and tubing and different stuff out of nowhere, and there's dialogue. It's all dubbed, and it's crazy. It's
probably poorly dubbed.
It's like a movie was dubbed by just reading the subtitles to you, but like the way they used to do it, where like everything was literal and everything was like crammed in there. It's a treat. But yes, turns the elevator lady into a motorcycle lady and then riots her to death. And it's kinky and weird and it's great.
Move, baby.
I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I
that's
think
when I was like, oh, there are no rules. Everything's just crazy now.
I think I made it till the movie was over, and I was scouring the internet trying to find like I need the history on IMDb, looking for like the things and like Wikipedia, and there was really not a lot listed about this movie, like the things that I wanted to know, like this, that, and another thing. Like learned that it was off of the manga, the anime thing here. I was like, okay, that's cool, but like that's where it kind of explains the whole like these are demons and they're inside people and things and whatever. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Because
you could think of them like mutants. They are like, they live among us and they have crazy
when you get to the one that like
stuff.
this one is an elevator, I'm like, it's a demon that possessed an elevator. I'm like, oh, okay.
What are you doing in there?
Or something like that, because it's not a person, and then there's liquid ones.
No, but there's
there's weird shit.
There's a bunch of goo and stuff happening or something. But that's very anime too. Whenever the ooze shows up, a character goes, liquid reptoid. It's like, oh my god, like everything's very explicit and very weirdly, like delivered to you.
Liquid reptoids.
There's a scene where like the ceiling becomes like a big TV, and then someone's shouting like, and I possessed her, and I made you believe this, and now you'll die thinking that.
I possessed your body, but now I don't want you anymore.
And I'm like, are they seeing this right now? Is this for me? What's happening? What's happening? Shaking. Yeah.
The moment that all of the good anti-reptoid police or whatever were like, use your telekinesis! Yes. I was like, wait a minute, they have telekinesis?
Okay.
Increase it.
They didn't telegraph that beforehand, right? That came out of nowhere?
Which part do you mean?
Someone's falling out of a window and they're like,
yes. Okay.
Increase the energy field. Yes, sir.
Like every one of them mind powers to save some dude.
So like earlier, they are like behind two-way glass or something, and the guy shouts, increase the magnetic field, and several people wearing lab coats stand up and do like Power Ranger poses, like at the window.
Control his energy field.
Expand the magnetic field.
Yeah.
And then, but there's also all this machinery, and someone like flips a switch. So I was like, oh, they're just like really into their job.
I thought that was just some weird, that's just what they do in Japan. I don't know.
That's just how we prove our point here. But yes, then by the end, that same squad, they're wearing suits. He's doing like, oh, and people are like falling down. It's like, oh my god, like what is happening? Like. That's good too. Again, this is like a live action anime in like more ways than one, where like that's totally the type of stuff that would happen.
Sure.
And like saying the names of moves.
It
when you
feels
do them,
like a live action
crazy.
anime,
Yeah.
Down to everything.
But like an old anime, not like the the new Zoomer animes that makes sense.
When he's like attacking with an airplane, I'm like, oh god, he's gonna bring down these towers.
9/11.
And then fucking it like fades through, and the guy says like, your illusions can't hurt me.
Your holograms don't scare me!
But then like a minute later, I'm like, wait a minute, is the plane real or not? Was that an illusion of him like before he got there with the actual plane? Because they like telekinesis and like drop it on top of the building. I'm like, what did that help you? I'm like, A, it's not structurally sound, and then B, are there people in there? Did you just trap motherfuckers on the top of it?
Yeah, well, that's better than crashing. They had to land the plane.
I guess.
And do the thing. No, exactly. When the plane is going at the building, I was like, not 9/11, not again.
Yeah.
And then it just goes right through. It's amazing. That's so like by this point, Mr. Shadow has turned into like a video game character where his whole face
He's
and everything
old
have
man
changed.
now.
Yeah, he's like.
I can see the light.
But he's morphed into like weird demon old man with like weird things. We'll do the things. I'm casting spells.
I just thought that like that was taking so much out of him. He was aging. I don't know if that's literal.
He didn't just wither yet. He was like powering up. There was a video game that I used to play in a pizza place where like it was like a fighting game.
Okay.
And like one of the characters was an old man, but when his health bar was down a certain amount, he would beef up and his clothes would like tear. He'd be this big beast guy for like the last part of his life, and it had that vibe to me. This weird thing where because his like hairline changes, he gets weird, spiky. Something happens.
Yeah.
He's clearly like I took it like you're going full Reptoid now. You're like I'm doing my things because his boy also tentacles and weird things happen to him. They're both like, this is my true form, my final power, my form, whatever. The shadow effects are really interesting on that rooftop when stuff happens, and I think it's bad, but it's so old that it's different, and I like it because the weird like shadow effect, and then he like jumps back in through his shadow power.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, and I'm like projecting half of that, but he also tells someone, get in my shadow.
Get in my shadow!
At one point, like that's what it is. So,
No, it's cool. There's a great like moments like when they're in like the kitchen or like that bar and stuff where I'm like, okay, the Reptoids just killed almost everybody in here except for the agents, and you're like, okay, that's good for you. But I didn't understand why any of that was happening. I was like, why did they just massacre everybody in here? You're not really blending in by doing that. And then the things like telekinetically like firing all these like forks and knives and shit, and it just looks so cool. But it's so bad that it's amazing.
And I don't know if it's like because it's made in some other country and I'm just used to the American bad effects more because they are bad.
Yeah.
It's like a weird CG knife or something, but something about it, and like they do the same thing later, and it's like gears and weird things.
Yeah, there's like a clock lady whose power is I'm a clock.
No, but like gears and springs and things fly out and they go through the crowd, and then it goes ring and like forms this giant clock back on the wall, and then a single thing of blood goes down the clock and all the people fall down. Like it was this weird CG sprockets just flew out over this crazy thing. But in both those cases, they do something where like in the kitchen the guy catches the knife and then freaks out like, oh my god, that was catch a knife.
Well, it cut him.
Well, I'm saying he catches it though. He's like wah and something. So like there's like interaction, and for that clock on the wall to like start to bleed like that, like all the sprockets tore through all the people.
Sure.
Like weird Magneto balls of doom or something. So it takes it this little extra mile that makes it work for me, where I'm like, yes, awesome.
The guy that catches a knife, so he's the one that's like part Reptoid in his lineage or whatever.
Is he? I thought that was the other guy.
No, he said cover your hand, it's bleeding black.
The cops are here. Let's disappear. They can. Your blood is black. You need to hide it. Or people will guess.
Oh, that's the guy. Oh, he cut his hand there.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So like, but it's easy to mix these people together because it seems like the one that is part Reptoid is the one that should be doing all the really badass stuff.
Yeah.
But he's not always the one doing badass stuff. He's like the nerd bitch guy at the warehouse.
You got a double agent! You dare come?
Ken Kai, this is silly of you. Why did you come back?
The nerd jumps through the roof at one point, and I know that was Taki because Ken had turned into a reptile man by then. So it was not him. Yes.
Wait, now I'm confused.
I know.
I thought that Taki was the one that was part reptile.
I may have the names confused. No,
Okay.
no. Ken is Ken is
Well, the one,
Reptoid guy, right?
I'll remove the names from the equation entirely. The one that turned into the Reptoid guy, turned into full reptile man, I should say.
Yeah.
Not changing! Not changing! Ken! You are changing! Ah!
He was the one that had the Reptoid in his lineage, I thought.
Right.
Okay, we are together.
The other one was having like a weird. They weren't fucking, I guess, but like a love affair. With
Yes.
the Reptile.
Okay. We're on the same page. We're on the same page.
Which again is an amazing anime thing of like, let me do a flashback. Oh, it's raining and we're doing weird.
She has like
things.
lightsaber nails.
Which is the exact I shouldn't say the exact, but that trope of like the femme fatale with the weird sharp hand thing.
Yeah.
That's in Full Metal Alchemist. That's in like a few
Lady
other things.
Deathstrike.
It's this awesome sort of anime type thing where suddenly she's doing her thing. No, she gets to do a lot of stuff. She's great. I like this character a lot.
There's a part where, and I think it's the standard guy, not the one with Reptoid in him, and he's still like, ah, and like yells, and it like sends someone flying back, and they
Okay.
charge away, and I was like, what was that?
That's why I was confused too, because I think twice a dude screams and does hallway magic that makes the other people farther away so that he can do something. this movie is crazy.
Yeah, it's very
Let's be
hard
clear.
to follow,
Yes.
and I think that's because it's probably cramming a lot of stuff from like a full series into like one movie. But I think it does a decent job at being entertaining at the very least.
Yeah.
There's some like kind of droning like parts of like love story things that are a little long, and they probably wouldn't be as long if they were speaking my language. I think it's the way they're dictated to me. It kind of loses a little something.
Well, there's nuance too, because there's like betrayal and like lies and like I'm lying to protect you and like I'm suspicious of this person now, and all that stuff kind of gets lost with the weird like rushed like dialogue, just trying to like shove all the words.
And
in.
characters
It
changing
doesn't-
their hair and their costumes and outfits a
Which is
lot
a no-no.
kind of throws off.
Thanks a lot. I get to hear that all the time. Eh?
Yes.
Like the one who ended up being the betrayer, the shorter-haired girl who was on the team. Then when she was in like the outfit thing, or was it the other one? I was like, I couldn't tell who that person was. I was like, all right.
Shira?
You know, I'd like to get closer.
Yeah.
And none of it really mattered for my enjoyment level because it's kind of just me sitting there like throwing popcorn at my face. Going, oh, what is this?
No, yeah. I don't think you should watch it for that stuff. You just kind of just go moment to moment, let things happen, let the plot come to you. Don't try to go be like, is that the same one from before? I don't care if the pinball one is the same one as the elevator one. I'm pretty sure, and then that's the same one that threw the knives. I don't know. It seems like it. I don't know.
That pinball, like, the guy's having sex with a pinball machine
very
lady
sexual.
demon.
Just watch me score as we come.
She's enjoying herself.
I wanted it to be like tilt at one point, but it didn't, and
It kind of did like a little. There was like a high score or something happening.
he's getting
there.
it. But there's like just things like that, like a movie that has a pinball demon, elevator demon, turn to motorcycle rid to death person. That's fantastic.
I think that was all the same.
I do believe it
person
is. I think it's
whose,
someone
like,
who only
physical
possesses
thing could
items,
Yeah, because like she gets shot in the head.
Is that the same person?
I thought so.
Oh, I
could be
didn't
wrong.
think that was the same person. I thought Clock Lady was her own person.
I don't know.
But maybe not,
because what happened to that
well,
one then?
I
Yes.
thought they cut Clock Lady in half when she went into the door, but maybe she just went into the elevator. Maybe you're right.
Interesting. I like that scene though a lot. She gets shot in the back of the head, and then turns around to face the guy, and the bullet then she like lets it come out of her head back at him. Those little crumbs of moments. That's why I used to watch anime, because there'd be little awesome things like that, little things that would get me like, oh, and just like my young mind, the new possibilities, new magic in the world with these things.
It's the equivalent of like when someone like shoots into the phone and kills someone in the
Back you!
And
Well,
like
yes.
that's what a lot of the things in the movie are, and I like that stuff. It's completely outlandish. It's ridiculous. The fact that like demons don't really have rules and can do whatever they want. I love that. It doesn't seem like just because my powers, I have nails that are lightsabers. She can also fly and do other crazy shit too.
Yes.
There's like a wire team fight that's nuts.
No, once they're flying, it's very much like, oh, I really don't know the rules here. This is really crazy.
A car gets cut in half like lightning strike.
Come on, don't mess around.
I was like, this is great.
From like a distance though.
Yeah.
But up until then, it seemed like her thing was just like a lightsaber. But then she goes out with it more. Oh man. Yeah.
So the movie is pretty much like a drug movie where they're trying to stop this demon drug from getting into people because it temporarily spikes you up in power, but then it kills you. Kind of like that Jamie Foxx movie that just came out. But that's a cool concept, and like this done 20 what is this 92? It's done like 30 years
100
ago.
years ago.
So that's
I mean, this is a
good.
common like a sci-fi like it almost reminded me of Alien Nation, where like there's weirdos living among us, and they brought with them like a thing, right? But yes, the drug is called happiness, which I'm sure means something, and yes,
I bet it's ecstasy before ecstasy was a thing.
like direct translation
Yeah.
of that thing. MD, Molly. No, it's that like femme fatale chick gets hooked on it because she gets forcibly
stabbed in her
injected with
brain.
it.
You let her go.
On the contrary, I'm going to inject her brain with happiness so you can watch her evaporate.
My God.
Yeah, it gets,
Damn.
It's a direct injection. So now she's hooked. So like mid-fight, she's like, "Give me the thing! I have to do this." It's like, I just need a little hit.
I can't stand it. I need some happiness.
Which leads to her getting a full blood transfusion from like our main transmutated now boy.
If you don't have a total blood transfusion, you'll end up like me.
Who just kind of like shoves PVC pipe into his and hers and just
She already
exchanges.
had tubing coming out of her for some reason. I'm not. He just went like, I was like, that'll work.
Well,
it just happened.
which at least is better than like our like samurai shadow dude who just is like, take my blood.
No. If you do that, you'll die.
And just like
Yes.
shoots blood on her
Just
and like,
throws the blood,
like
but
that's
it
gonna do
works.
it.
I think it worked.
That dude regrows an arm at one point, and I was like, that's awesome.
I'm too old. This is a strain.
Oh, they're like at the power plant,
Yeah.
naked and like chatting while they writhe around and like repair themselves.
Yeah,
And
apparently
I'm like,
demons get
what
paired
is
up by
this?
power.
Yeah.
Fighting humans began over energy. But the fighting just increased energy expenditure. We must learn to coexist with humans.
I don't know. I don't dislike it.
It's
I think it's great. There's a part that I guess would be the first hint of psychicness is when you see the demon guy like making coffee like with his mind, and like no one bats an eye. They're like, yeah, that's how you make coffee because we're also telekinetics. Fuck you.
He says, "I'll do it myself," because he's all like, strapped in.
He's mental swole.
How many sugars? I can do it myself.
The dubbing also has this side effect of making certain moments extremely funny.
Yeah.
When the one dude shows up and just starts shooting in the kitchen, it's like, "Hi, Ken," and then he's like immediately fighting or something.
Yep.
I can.
And there's a scene too where it's right after the cold open beginning with Spider Lady, the hotel room, that whole business. And this is when I knew, like, I'm into this. This is gonna work for me, regardless of its like rough edges. They go back to HQ. The Stern guys there. They're gonna investigate the happiness, pandemic and the whole thing. They're showing this boxer and everything. And he's like, "Do you like boxing?" And he says, "No, I like girls."
Does boxing interest you?
No, I like girls.
It's the only line in the movie I wrote down.
Yes, delivered so deadpan. Like, no, for me it's girls. And the guy makes a weird reaction to it. Something about it. I'm like, is this a translation thing? Does this mean what it means to me now? What is happening here?
Doesn't matter.
This is so cool. Yes, but that's like peppered throughout, where there's random lines where I'm like, oh God, what?
No, the lines, the random displays of powers, the insane ways they show visual effects, and like how they got around with what they could do at the time. Like, it is definitely a great movie to watch in a group, but I think it's totally fine to watch it alone. There's not a problem there. But as in a group, there's a million like, oh shit kind of scenes.
No, I mean, if you still do drugs, like that same guy who does the hallway magic, I think also screams and then shrinks his car or the enemy's car. Does that happen? Does a car shrink?
I can't remember it, but there's so much in this movie that I wouldn't doubt it.
I'm pretty sure it's right after they're flying around, and there's a car. You see headlights behind them, and there's more screaming magic.
Okay.
He does, and then one of the cars is very small. But then it's just an exterior shot, so I didn't know if he made his car small to get away, or if he made their car small to like beat them. But it breaks the chase off, where it's like, okay, we did it, folks. And I'm like, what? Because again, I did not think that was the guy with powers, so whatever.
That constantly watching it,
Yes.
I kept being like, wait a minute, who the fuck is that? Which one is that?
Okay, that might be it. What they missed and what we missed then, because everyone where they work can unite to land the plane. So the other guy has those powers, I guess.
I guess.
So that's why he can jump all the way through the ceiling and be fine, or doesn't care. Yeah, but it's not.
No. But I think again, if this is something you would have watched, you're like, oh, I love that anime. Let me watch this thing, and you would have already known a lot going in.
Yeah. A lot of this must be fan service,
Has
the
to be.
music stuff, and it's that
cool,
guy.
like to his wrist, like the gun in pieces. That was nice.
Yeah. Oh yes, because it's like Japan, and he can't just have a gun if he works for the whatever. So he has to be finding pieces of the gun and assembling them. Yes, and later too. There's like criminal or like investigatory stuff where he's like, oh, we have to infiltrate this. I'm like, I'm a musician. He's like, where's your instrument? I play piano.
Where's your instrument?
I play the piano.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And they go in. I'm like, oh, that's so dumb. That's so cool. Oh, this works so good. He's just like standing there like, ah.
I love they go in there like that lady who's in like the weird like metal bikini thing who later turns into a clock, just spikes the punch and blows up everybody in there from like exploding punch poison.
Well, no. She's like, you've like drank my assassin or something, because
oh, is that a liquid guy in there? I didn't pick that up.
You just drank one of my killers. Get the hell out of here.
They spiked the punch with like liquid Reptoid.
Oh
so
my
then all of them
God,
go,
genius.
"Oh," and then things start exploding and stuff. This anime must be great, honestly, because a lot of the like these effects are super charming and like amazing. But I think if you had the infinite budget of just
Drawing,
draw it,
you could sell all
things
these
are probably crazy and like more, right? More
Interesting.
So.
Yeah. Oh. Liquid Reptoid. Genius.
Because later in the car, he just lets them ooze him, and he just waits it out, and then eventually, like destroys, like blows it all up.
I like him shooting the car, like get next to him and let the gas leak out and burn the fucker off so he can drive away.
Yeah, that too. They both jump out and like jump over the car, all like we have powers, and I'm like, one of you is a human. What's happening?
Yeah,
and yeah. They must
I didn't
have
even
psychic
get what
powers.
that meant to have like the Reptoid in your lineage. Like, so like his mom was a demon, and like he's like that. You'd think that would automatically like either rise him to the top of like who your things are, or like make it so he can't be a participant.
Yeah, and this is so.
They treat him like shit though up until he dies, and they're like, "My boy Ken,
my son."
Ah!
Ken!
No, this is the tale as old as time, and I love people who think X-Men like invented this or something, but it's like, oh, I have like bad blood and like you don't respect me, and they're like, you can rise above it, and they're like, that also sucks. Don't say that either. And it's this weird. It's the exact same thing that everything does, because it's like, it used to be like your ancestors came from this country where like we hate those people. And, it's just that up to like 11, because there's so many precious minutes dedicated to this like dynamic that you're outlining. Where it's like, oh, can he rise above his like Reptoid blood? And he's like screaming like, I'm innocent! How dare you! Oh no!
Yeah,
like, it's
and
very
I guess
dramatic.
they activated his mutant gene by putting him in that headlock, and that's what turned him into a reptile man.
He like did the power to him.
The juju.
Made it happen. I would love to have some Reptoid in my lineage. Some powers.
Take a hit. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to support the show, head over to cannibalvideo.com, pick up some merch.
And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
That's alright.
Yeah, that's something.
Whatever.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
Cannibal Video has everything you need. A wide array of VHS and DVDs. We ate the competition, now it's only us. Our expert staff opinion